Hello, Word Wizard. I'm Talena Winters, the author alchemist, and today we're going to talk about how to use a single sentence to plot, revise, and pitch your story. Sound impossible? Well, stick with me. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video because there's going to be a special offer at the end to help you develop this skill one-on-one. Okay, let's go. So one of the most difficult parts of writing a book can be summarizing it in an interesting and succinct way when someone asks you what it's about. There are plenty of other difficult parts, sure, like plotting, characters, structure, creating a satisfying ending, making sure your conflict resonates, finding a concept that can carry a whole book or series, or that won't overwhelm the bounds of a short story. Well, what if I told you that all of these problems could be addressed, at least in part, by utilizing one simple tool, the logline? So what's a logline? The term logline comes from the film industry, where it refers to a one-sentence summary of a story that's used for pitching to producers and publishers, agents, etc. It captures the emotional hook, conflict, and core premise of the story in 1 or 2 sentences. So the descriptions of your favorite shows on streaming platforms, those are actually types of loglines. A well-crafted logline isn't just important for pitching, though. It's the basis for all future marketing copy, from book descriptions to hooks to ads. And if you develop a logline during your writing or revision process, it can actually save you hundreds of misspent hours and thousands of words by ensuring that you have your key structural elements in place before you write yourself into a corner or discover that your plot looks something like Swiss cheese. The logline is such a useful tool, in fact, that I recommend it to writers of any style, whether you're a plotter, a pantser, or a discovery writer, or somewhere on the spectrum in between that. It's also the first and most important step of my flexible writer's framework that I teach for writing and revising stories. So how do you make a logline? A logline includes all the important elements of your story: protagonist, antagonist, goal, obstacle, which is the problem or external conflict, stakes, and often a ticking clock. It also conveys genre, but usually through implication rather than blatantly stating it. Some of these elements are optional, such as a ticking clock. However, including all 6 elements, or 7 if you count the genre, is going to ensure the most compelling and structurally sound story idea. Let me give you an example to show you what I mean. So for the movie Frozen from Disney, the logline is: a sheltered and lonely Danish princess must save her country, their visiting dignitaries, and the fiancé she just met from freezing and famine after her reclusive older sister unleashes an unnatural magical winter and vanishes. That's kind of wordy, but loglines meant for plotting often are. So here's what we've got if we break that down. We've got our protagonist, which is our sheltered and lonely Disney prince. She's a Disney princess, but our sheltered and lonely Danish princess. Our antagonist, a reclusive older sister with superpowers. Problem: the older sister unleashes an unnatural magical winter on the whole country, but didn't stick around to fix it. Goal: thaw the country and the older sister's frozen heart, although that isn't blatantly stated in there. It's part of the, it's implied in a way. Stakes: everyone is going to freeze or starve to death, including our sweet heroine's new bow/lifeline from loneliness. Ticking clock: the amount of time before that happens. Implied genre: the magical aspects imply some kind of fantasy tale, the main characters being princesses, and the romance angle implies it could be a fairy tale. Note that this logline didn't mention anything about the love triangle, the betrayal, the supporting characters, nor many of the other cool and fun aspects of the movie. It also didn't use people's names, but instead used adjectives and nouns to tell us who they are and why they matter. It did, however, subtly allude to the movie's theme, that only love can thaw a frozen heart. It is subtle, it's there in the subtext, but that's all you really need for a logline. There are all kinds of logline formulas, and I explore a few in my other post, which is your story in a single sentence, about the log line, and I will include the link in the description and maybe somewhere up here because I do have a video about that as well. I'm new at this. I'm figuring it out. Also, I'll be introducing my upcoming workshop on the log line later in this video, so that's what you need to stick around for till the end. Okay, a log line versus an elevator pitch. While log lines are often used as another word for one sentence pitch, they're kind of used interchangeably, especially in Hollywood. I prefer to think of the log line as a plotting and a story development tool and separate the pitching aspects into a separate tool called the elevator pitch. Now, the verses in that title of this section might make you think of a Mortal Kombat street fight between these two concepts, but actually, log lines and elevator pitches are more like lovers walking hand in hand into the sunset. They're deeply interrelated, but one is used for plotting and the other is used for marketing. An elevator pitch uses the same basic elements as a log line, often reshaped a little bit for intrigue, but it can also include several other things. So the elevator pitch usually has the premise or cool factor. What makes this story unique or interesting? It includes genre. Instead of implying it like we did with a log line, we just state it point blank. It often has comp titles, stories, or content. Concepts, and comp there is short for comparison. So use well-known tropes and best-selling stories mashed together to immediately intrigue the listener. And it usually includes the themes. Like genre, themes can be blatantly stated in a pitch instead of only alluded to. For example, the elevator pitch for Frozen might sound like this. Frozen is a fantasy fairy tale about two royal sisters whose bond is tested when the elder accidentally curses their kingdom with eternal winter. Think the Snow Queen meets Wicked with themes of sisterhood, sacrifice, and the power of love to break even the coldest curse. Note that while that pitch drew from the log line, it didn't include every element. Instead, it focused on the core conflict in the themes, as well as the cool factor and some comps to quickly capture interest. That pitch is already pretty tight, but if you were selling this as a book at a live event, such as a con or a book signing, or talking to an agent or editor, you might want to make it a bit more natural sounding, like this. It's about a sheltered young princess whose reclusive sister accidentally curses their kingdom with endless winter. Now she has to find a way to break the curse before everyone, including her new prince fiancé, freezes or starves to death. At its core, it's a fairy tale fantasy about sisterhood, sacrifice, and love strong enough to melt even the coldest heart. So be sure to mix up your pitches and experiment to find which parts of your story resonate the most. Your story is a lot of things, and your pitch lets you play with featuring different aspects from the log line's basic framework to appeal to different audiences. But here's the key difference between the two. Your log line is for you, your elevator pitch is for other people. So it's got the same DNA, but the delivery is different. For a deeper dive into developing your elevator pitch, I also have a video about that, and I will link that in the description below about your story in a single sentence about the elevator pitch, and that builds on the log line, just like I just did here, but in more detail. And in my workshop that we'll be talking about later, we will also be covering how to turn your exact log line into an elevator pitch. And we're going to talk about that pretty soon. So if you do want to learn more about how to do this, as I said, read those or watch those two videos. And I do have blog posts about those videos that accompany them on my website, as well as another one called Troubleshooting Your Plot Problems with the Log Line. Again, that one will be linked in the description. But now we get to finally talk about the class. So I am teaching a class about how to create a log line, and in the class, it's a live interactive online workshop on September 18th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. If I get more demand, I will create more sessions for this time around. And this is a class that I will be teaching on an ongoing basis. So you can go to my website, talenawinters.com/logline as one word, and you can find the information there. And if you are watching this video after September 18th, 2025, don't worry, you can go find out whenever the next session is and sign up, because this is such an important skill. So here's what the class is about. It's called Nail Your Story in One Sentence with the Log Line. And it's actually a workshop, not just a class. So if you can't describe your story in one sentence, chances are you don't really know what it's about. So in this class, you'll learn to distill your entire plot into a single sentence log line, which is a powerful tool to test ideas, guide your craft, steer visions, and sell your story. So whether you're a plotter, a pantser or discovery writer, or somewhere in between, use a logline to save time and avoid frustration while writing, and then pitch with confidence. So this is all for all fiction and creative nonfiction writers, including memoir. It is a live interactive workshop, as I said. It'll be about 2 hours long. And this session is set up for September 18th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. There will be a recording that you get to refer to afterwards, and you'll get a downloadable PDF worksheet to help you create future log lines, as well as the one that we will work on in class. You'll get the notes on that. And then I'm limiting it to 20 seats because I want a chance to work one-on-one with everyone who attends to develop the log line for your story right now. What you'll learn in the class is how to use the log line to spark and test story ideas before you invest months of writing. You can spot your plot holes before or after they derail your draft. You can stay focused and confident while drafting or revising. You can rescue a broken story with a single guiding sentence. And you can actually use the logline to write your pitches, queries, and book descriptions. So it's that powerful. I really believe in it. So if you've ever struggled to explain your story without tripping over your words, this class could change the game for you. There is early bird pricing until September 1, so be sure to check that out on my website, talenawinters.com/logline, and go reserve your spot. Run, don't walk. I look forward to seeing you there. I hope you've gotten some value out of this video. If you did, please like, subscribe. I've got more coming, and check out those other videos as well. Thanks so much, and happy writing.